Today, we're taking it back to the old school. The little landlord-tenant action from the 3B. Judge Jeffrey Middleton, way up there in St. Joseph County, Michigan.
Good afternoon, Mr. Moore. Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yes, you have a bright light right behind you, which is not ideal.
Let me see if I can fix it.
Well, just turn the other way here, find another spot to sit.
Did we fix it?
Yes, that's very good. We have a ceiling fan, but I see lots of those. All right, this is a return in the matter of Carrington Mortgage Services versus all unknown occupants at 53. Attorney David Schulte is here for the plaintiff's Carrington mortgage. The tenants are not unknown. They are descendants of Earl Moore and Jason Moore, Robin Adair Moore, who is Earl's ex-wife, and at least one other person was residing there, a child. When we met last week, there was discussion about what this is. It's a house with 5 garages full of stuff. And there was a foreclosure in this case quite some time ago. Now, the mortgage holder was Earl Moore, who apparently didn't share this financial distress with anyone else. And he died, I think, March 10th. No, April 6th. And then the occupants realized what the circumstance was. So I think it was Mr. Schulte said he would offer 45 days to move, but we didn't come to any resolution. We continued the matter until today. Mr. Schulte, what's the position of your plaintiff?
Your Honor, we could still offer 45 days to the defendant if that works for him. I think the problem we had last time as well, though, was with the consent judgment, if he had authority to sign it.
Yes. He couldn't consent for everybody else. So I could just do it as part of a consent on your side or just rule it with the plaintiff's consent. Mr. Moore, do you think you can vacate the property within 45 days?
Well, let me be honest, and just say this. I got the death certificate yesterday, so now I can move forward with paperwork to get things done. We did find Aaron Bowers was the young boy that they actually had custody of. We have found a family member who is going to step up and try to get custody of him. Again, we had to wait on the death certificate because my dad Earl actually had guardianship of him, and they can't change that without proving he was dead. There is a lot there to move. Robin is on full-time oxygen, bedridden. We are working very hard to get her into a home. You know, I'm going to do everything I can to be out of there in 45 days. Um, I, it's just so much. It's just so much to do, and I just now finally got paperwork to get started.
Well, and it's certainly better than 10 days. And even then, they don't have to evict you on the 45th day. So today is March 3rd. March
May
3rd, May 3rd, excuse me. I do that often. May 3rd to June 2nd is 30 days. 15 more days after that would be June 17th, would be 45 days. Now, I'm going to just issue the order that the parties move by June 17th. Your appeal date, May 13th. Patterson's bowling out there or something. If they stuck to their guns, you'd have 10 days to move. And there are several problems. A, you have to find something for this young boy. You have to find a placement for someone who's on oxygen and bedridden. And you got a lifetime worth of possessions stuck out in these barns. the primary concerns are finding a place for this young Mr. Bowers and for Robin Adair Moore. But at some point, they wish to get this property back. The foreclosure was a long time ago. The redemption period actually expired last September. They could have started this matter in September of 23, and they didn't start it until, well, maybe the sale was in September of 23. Anyway, more than 6 months have passed. In defense of you, you're just here trying to do the best you can to pick up the pieces in this circumstance. And Fred Moore, or Earl Moore, who's not here. Had Earl been a police officer at one time?
Yes, sir. 27 years.
Yeah.
Several of them were right there in St. Joe County. He said he knew everybody there.
Yeah, I knew him years back. All right, I'm gonna do an order that says any occupants have 45 days to move with the consent of the plaintiff. That would be June 17th. So, Mr. Schulte, I'll ask you to send me a judgment for uh, termination of tenancy effective June 17th, 2024. The appeal date will be May 13th. Mr. Moore, I'd strongly suggest that, are you the contact person, Mr. Schulte?
Yes.
Mr. Schulte's name and address is on the pleadings. It shows a Kalamazoo address, but the phone number of 312-541-9710, is that still accurate?
Yes, that'd be preferable to the mail just because it goes right to our office.
Yes. So if I would suggest you stay in contact with him and let him know what your progress is. Do you have
Your
any
Honor,
questions?
Can I
Yes.
give him my phone number on here too? So if he has
Well, I
anything.
don't want to do it here on the live feed. He's a business and his phone
Okay.
number is available on the internet. And if anybody wants to hire him, they can look him up. But I don't want you to put your number. So call him and give him that number and email information. Then you guys can deal with each other. In fact,
Okay.
I'll put you in a breakout room right now and you can provide that while we're here.
Real quick, Judge, how do you want us to file the judgment? Should we email it to the courthouse?
I want you to email it to me at.
Okay.
This wasn't my idea. That's somebody else created that, complicated.
That's okay.
Anyway, I'm gonna put you in a breakout room. Just hit the button that says join, and you can exchange that information with Mr. Schulte. Then you're free to go on about your business. Good luck, sir.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you for what you're doing to help your family.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Looks like they're wrapping up. Meg, I need the breakout room, so I'm gonna close this one.
Yep.
And reopen it.
Thank you, Judge. I was able to get them connected with us.
Okay.
They can,
I wasn't clear what their defense they were trying to state, but
they may not
All
have
right.
a defense, but we can at least advise them.
all right, yes, I didn't think they did, but all right, I'm going to put Miss Olivier. And both of you hit the button that says join the breakout room and I'll conduct other business while you're talking.
Yeah.
All right. Ms. Thompson, just stick with me. We're going to work on some other stuff. We're going to switch back to a landlord tenant docket, which is Carrington Mortgage versus Robin Moore and any all occupants at Attorney David Schulte is here once again for the plaintiff. Jason Moore is present once again. And I have another party, Jimmy Kreitzer, who's also interested in this. This was a termination of tenancy after a sheriff's sale. And I think this is brand new. Mr. Schulte, what's the situation here? Didn't we already do this?
Yes, Your Honor, but there was some complications with it. So we had a judgment order for Mr. Moore to be out of the property by June 17th. And while he was moving things out, it appeared the property was reported vacant by a vendor that Carrington uses, I believe just during a routine check. And that was prior to the 17th. And so, since it was reported vacant, Carrington instructed them to proceed as vacant and change the locks and begin a trash out process. All prior to this, Mr. Moore was still moving things out and returned to his home and was locked out and have had some problems with that since then. So he's still in possession of the property while we were trying to work things out. And I believe Mr. Kreitzer is here to help explain why the property was reported vacant.
Well, this has happened in a couple of recent cases. I have one right now where they're alleging that the move out people stole their stuff. Let me get into this because I don't have all the pleadings in front of me.
Okay. And I believe that's similar here. Something important to Mr. Moore seems to be taken from the property. And I believe he filed a police report about it too as well.
All right, we did have a judgment.
Yep.
That was for a move out date of June 17th. That was agreed upon.
Yep.
Then we got email from Mr. Moore stating what you had said. And I was told the attorney, they were trying to help recover the items. The police officer told me to contact the courts. So I'm not exactly even sure what I have authority to do here, but I set this for hearing. Mr. Moore, you're
Yes.
content that they took your stuff before you'd finished moving out of your father's house. Is that correct?
What? Yes, sir. I just dumbfounded to how they could say a property is vacant. The doors were locked. The lights were on. I mean, I made it very clearly known, so you can visibly see, hey, if the doors are locked, the lights are on, the property's not unsecure. There's boxes all over the front porch. We're obviously moving stuff. Why they would call it vacant and break in the first place, I don't understand. And in the second place, why they would violate the court order and not do things right, I don't understand. I'm just dumbfounded. There's a lot of stuff missing. And as I've told this attorney, David Schulte, I don't care about most of it. There's one box that was my father's law enforcement retirement stuff that is very valuable to me and my family, and we would like it back, but no one seems to want to admit to who took it.
I had
to wait.
All right. Well, I've obviously, as we discussed, I knew your dad, and I worked with him when I was prosecutor. Then he went to Hartford and did some other things, but I'd known him during his law enforcement career. And in the past, I've charged people criminally when I was prosecutor with this, in this circumstances. I don't think this is going to turn into a criminal case, but I've charged 25 years ago, this. So Ms. Schulte, you indicated they were trying to recover the property. So there's some blame to go around. They called you and said it was vacant. Someone from your office said, go ahead and do it, even though the time period for the court order hadn't passed.
Mm-hmm.
And property that's valuable to them has been taken. Have you had any success in finding it?
And finding his property?
Yes.
the goods. No, we haven't. Um, I was hoping to talk to the police officer because the vendor that Carrington hires provided some contact information with who all had been out to the property, and have been doing my best to get in contact with them individually to ask questions and see if anyone has seen, what's missing. One individual gave me a call back, and prior to this hearing, I was in contact with Mr. Moore and gave him the contact info that I was given so that he could provide to the police officer and hope that gets taken care of. Because it seems like, from Mr. Moore's perspective, and mine now at this point, the top priority here is getting his lost goods back, because that seems to be what he cares about the most here. And
Well,
obviously,
Mr. Kreitzer, what's your involvement here?
Hi, I'm a realtor and I do a lot of bank foreclosure properties. And I was hired to go to I've been watching the property for about 9 months. And I do a bi-weekly occupy check. And during one of my occupy check, it looked like nobody was living in the house. I got out and walked around the house, and then there was a neighbor outside to the left. And I talked to the neighbor, and he said that because I'd been to the property, and I talked to a person named Earl Moore, and he said that Earl
Well, that's
passed
true.
away.
No one was living in the house, so
And Earl
but
passed
they
away.
weren't done moving out. So did you hire somebody to come then empty the house out?
I did not. I hired
who-
nobody to come to move out the house or anything.
Well,
All I
who-
did is report that the
Back to the law
house
firm?
was vacant and there was personal property inside.
Your Honor, I believe he reported to a company called MCS, and MCS then reported to Carrington.
Your Honor,
Yes.
part of my problem is I left on the night of the 2nd, morning of the 3rd to haul a load down south. Knowing I had to be back by the 7th because I had a clean out crew coming in the 7th with dumpsters and clean out, guys to clean the place out. When I got back, they had locked me out. When I got back on the night of the 6th, I was locked out. It took until the 13th to finally get someone to let me back in. So now I had to drive back there and I had to stay in a motel and wait till the 13th after calling everybody to get back in. This attorney that's here now is the only one that had even helped me any.
All right, well, let's talk about this. This has to do with possession, and they now have possession of the house. What you have is a claim for money damages. You also may have a violation. Hold on for a minute. You may have a violation of the lockout law where they came and locked you out. And this is a kind of a amorphous group of defendants. It was your father's house. There were people in it. A number of names. You weren't actually living there, but you were trying to help facilitate this. They're subject to being sued financially for the unlawful taking of your property. I guess you could sue everybody involved. But I don't have the authority to order anything in the context of this landlord-tenant case. As I said, in the past, I've charged people with crimes. I have another one right now where the people are quite upset. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. But
well, Your Honor, to clear
point,
anything up, I do live there.
Okay. All right. So you did reside there?
I still do. I'm still there right now.
Well, the date for the writ has passed. You're subject to being evicted.
Judge,
What's that?
if I can add something, we separately provided Mr. Moore some more time, and even as a part of this hearing, we're going to be willing to give him some more time to continue to move things out, given everything that's happened and given that he was locked out.
Okay.
But that's where we were also kind of confused and waiting to hear what you had to say about the matter with the eviction, with everything else going on.
Well, I
We
guess
were ready
I'll
to give him
just
more
see this
time.
as an information. Well, how much time are you willing to give him?
If Mr. Moore, we were trying to reach some agreement with Mr. Moore if there was any time that he would be willing to go with. Just with everything that's happened, we obviously understand the situation, and any matter of 1 or 2 weeks would be preferable just because our client wants the property back to proceed. But I also understand what's going on with Mr. Moore and that there are more things going on. And if there's any sort of compromise we could reach, that would be great.
All right, well, Mr. Moore, how much more time is it gonna take you to vacate?
Well, I had to reschedule with the move out company because we were locked out and couldn't get in. They showed up and couldn't get in. Uh, More importantly to me, I want to know, a couple of weeks is fine. I can live with a couple of weeks. We'll get what we can get out and be done. More importantly to me is I incurred a lot of expenses staying at a motel and having to get police involved and everything, trying to get back in the house. And I want to know who is how, let's just say we give them back the house, Your Honor. If we give them back the house, they can fight me for the next 100 years over who stole that stuff. They're just going to sell their house and move on and forget all about I even exist. They don't care. They have a lot more money than I do. They'll fight it forever. I'm not trying to get everything back that was missing. There's a riding lawnmower missing, all kinds of stuff. I'm not trying to get all that back. I want the box of his retirement stuff back. That's all I have of my dad. While trying to move out and move Robin into a home, as we discussed before, she died on us. So this has been a tragedy multiple times throughout my family. And the one thing that we have of my father's life was his retirement stuff, his golden police chief ring and stuff. It's all gone. I mean, how do you put a value on this stuff? So what am I supposed to do? Walk away, give them their property back, and say, "Okay, you win. I'm never
All
going
right,
to get
so
nothing."
what's the question? You want to stay longer for free because you're mad because they took your dad's stuff? Sue them for
No.
$25,000 and
No,
subpoena people.
that's not what I'm
But-
saying, Your Honor. I'm not
All right,
trying to
well-
do that. I'll
I
take
understand
the 2
why
weeks.
you're upset, but
I want them to reimburse my cost in the motel and stuff, which
All
I
right,
think
well,
David Schulte
they
said
can-
they would do that.
We
They can
spoke to them.
choose-
They haven't confirmed the reimbursement. We've contacted them about it and asked.
all right, well, they can
Your Honor?
do that if they choose to, yes?
Your Honor, I want to say, I have never go on record, I've never been inside that house at all. I want to go on record for that.
All right.
Now, I do have one more question. If I break a court order, I get in trouble. What happens to them for breaking a court order?
I guess that's a good question. They could be found in contempt. I don't even know who it is. The problem they have is they're going to say, we have the authority of the law firm to do this. So we have a succession of mistakes. And so to charge them criminally is probably not realistic because they'll say, well, the lawyer told us to go do it. Or someone from Carrington Mortgage. I'm not sure at this point who gave them the authority to do it. So I agree with you. I'm not very happy about this, but at some point you need to vacate the house. And that's what we're trying to establish here is when you're going to be out.
And I will be out either way in that 2 weeks. I'll have whatever I can get out will be out. I'll be done. But if
All
I
right,
may
well,
ask a question,
hold it. Let's decide when 2 weeks is. Today is June 28th. 2 weeks from now would be July 12th. Is that long enough? Or you want to go to July 19th?
let's go to the 19th.
All right, so the move out date is July 19th, 2024. And no writ will enter before that time.
Judge, do you want us to prepare a new order for that to submit?
Yes. Also, the plaintiff is attempting to recover defendant's missing property.
Hello?
Yes,
Oh, I lost all video.
okay. Well, all right, recover missing property and consider reimbursement for expenses.
Your Honor, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
If the owner of the said property is Carrington Mortgage, whoever gets hired below them would be Carrington Mortgage's responsibility. So wouldn't Carrington Mortgage be responsible for what others do? For say, if you hired me to paint your house and I didn't paint it, I had somebody else do it. I'm still responsible for who I hired to paint your house. If you're not happy, you're going to come after me and I have to go after them.
Yes, you could sue Carrington Mortgage if you choose to.
Well, I guess what I'm asking you is in the terms of penalizing someone for breaking a court order, it would still fall back on Carrington Mortgage. They're the ones that hired the other people. It's Carrington Mortgage should have done better due diligence to see if the property was vacant.
Yes, but this is a landlord tenant foreclosure action. So I'm not doing your heavy lifting for you. If you want to sue them for money damages, you can do it. You've got until the 19th of July to vacate, or you're subject to being evicted. Mr. Schulte is going to be working with Carrington Mortgage. Somebody screwed up here. There isn't any other way to describe it,
Yeah,
but let's see what we can do. In the meantime, you need to vacate, but if you want to sue them.
I will.
All right, well, let's see what they can accomplish in the next 3 weeks. Mr. Schulte will submit a new order. So everyone else is vacated but you?
Yep. And now if they don't reimburse me all my expenses that they have caused me, do I come back to you for this or what?
Judge, I'm
Yeah,
happy
you
to
file
speak with
an
him.
action. Ms. Bauer, were you gonna say something?
Just, I'm happy to consult with Mr. Moore if he's interested about his civil rights and obligations.
Would you like to talk to legal aid about this?
Yes, definitely.
All right, I'll put you in the breakout room.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, Judge.
Well, the problem is I'm gonna need the breakout room again in about 2 seconds.
I'll just direct him for an intake and give him a basic.
Contact, all right, I'll do that.
This year, we gave out 45,000, equally distributed to 3 women entrepreneurs who are building their business right here in Michigan.
Miss Olivier, that's your microphone. Is that your other hearing?
You know, it's really about product that, you know.
No, I don't know what you're hearing.
I'm hearing another court bleeding into our record.
Okay.
All right, let me do the breakout room.
Or Mr. Moore can stay until the end of the
Well,
proceedings.
I'll put you in the breakout room and then we'll take up our next matter.
Okay.
So, Mr. Schulte, I'll await your order.
okay.
So is under.
Do you need me for anything after their breakout room?
No, I don't.
Okay.
All right,
You
thank
need
you.
more?
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll be in contact again going forward, and you have my contact info and whatnot.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And Mr. Kreitzer, you're good to go.
Thank you.